Hi Sparkles, and welcome back to Intuitive Wisdom. For episode 219, I'm doing something special today. I'm sharing a powerful conversation I recently had with the Life with Purpose podcast, where I was invited by Mel Harrowsmith to talk about one of my favorite topics, the energetic frequency of your home. This replay is beautifully grounding, and I think it meets this moment perfectly. We explore what home frequency really means and how the spaces you live in quietly shape your mood, your energy, your creativity, and even the opportunities that show up in your life. We get into the emotional side of clutter, the way your home can reflect who you were or support who you are becoming, and the subtle signs that your space might be off. Yes, even that one annoying drawer you keep avoiding. I'll also share why chipped bowls, old towels, and stagnant corners matter more than you think, and how small, joyful shifts can completely uplift both your home and your inner world. You'll also hear me walk through how my remote home frequency reset sessions work and why clearing your space can be such a profound catalyst for abundance, creativity, and deeper alignment with your purpose. I'm just really excited to bring this to you here. So here we go. Welcome to Intuitive Wisdom, a space where insight meets energy and intuition leads the way. I'm K. Margaret Solorio, author, Angel Reiki Master, biotech graduate, and a guide for those seeking alignment in their home and life. Whether you're navigating change, clearing emotional clutter, or simply craving clarity, Intuitive Wisdom invites you to slow down, tune in, and rise into your authentic self. New episodes weekly. Come home to your own knowing. All right, Sparkles, before we get to today's episode, I have a few quick announcements for you. First, have you tried my free quiz yet? It's called Is Your Home Supporting Your Expansion? It only takes a few minutes and you get some clear insight into how your space may be shaping your energy and where you can start to shift things. Go to deliciousease.com/quiz to get your copy. And my home frequency reset service is available if your space feels heavy, stuck, or just a little off. The service is remote, so it can be done. I can connect in from anywhere around the world. It's intuitive, energetic refresh designed to bring your home back into harmony with you. Perfect if you're craving a fresh start or a deeper alignment with your vision. And my book, Make Ease Your Vibe, is available on Amazon in both paperback and Kindle versions. It's packed with practical strategies for shifting your energy, your mindset, and your relationship with time itself. Bringing ease into your day, right? Part of your daily pattern, routine. Plus, you get access to exclusive chapter bonuses at deliciousease.com. And last but not least, I am now a teacher on Insight Timer. If you're looking for a quick guided meditation to help you breathe, tune in, and take a break, be sure to check out my meditations on the free app Insight Timer. I upload new meditations regularly, and that's a great way to connect. All right, let's get to the episode.
Hello and welcome to the Life with Purpose podcast. Today I am talking to K. Margaret Solorio about how to feel energetically at home, both in your physical space, your home, and within yourself. K. Margaret is an intuitive guide, energy mentor, and creator of the Home Frequency Reset, a transformative service that helps clients clear energetic clutter and realign their spaces to support personal growth and inner peace. Through her Intuitive Wisdom podcast and one-to-one offerings, she blends grounded spiritual insight with practical energy work to help conscious individuals create environments that match their evolving frequency. K. Margaret, hello, welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
It's an absolute pleasure to be talking to you today about your work. I've had a number of guests on the Life with Purpose podcast, and many have talked about topics that relate directly to self. So how we are within ourselves and how we can improve that, relationships with ourselves and others, connecting with ourselves and others. But I haven't had a dedicated conversation about energetic connections with our physical environment. We've touched on the power of nature in previous episodes, but nothing as explicit as the energetic connection to one of, if not the most influential environment in all of our lives, our home. And I know there are many areas of my home that feel off, so I'm really looking forward to learning more about this today. and learning more from UK Margaret. So perhaps we should start by explaining a bit more about what it is that you do. What is home frequency reset?
Yeah, well, I really am into personal development work as well, and I know a lot of people that are, but I agree, your environment is a space where you can easily tolerate things or not think it's such a big deal. On the other side, if you take a little bit more proactive stance, it's a place where a little change can have a lot of impact and can really support that growth and who you are becoming. So I believe in my work that everything is energy, including you and me. And if we look down to I'm sure you've talked about this on your podcast before, the cellular atomic level, everything's vibrating there. We're all energy. And so as energetic beings, we have energetic residue, whether like conversations have it, experiences have it. Also, we do. So just over time, kind of like dust settles on your house after time, this energetic residue can build up, especially in the corners of a space. If you think, I always like the example because I think a lot of us can relate to it. If somebody's had a bit of a heated or a discussion or argument and it's over, but then you walk into the space after it's happened, it's really obvious. You can feel that energy, and that's that energetic residue. So doing a home frequency reset, energetically clearing the space, allows for like a cleanup and a reset of that energetic residue. And that can be really beneficial after a big change. So maybe you've moved into a new space, or maybe you're trying to sell the house and you're trying to clear that energy so it's fresh and welcoming to whoever wants to come in. Or it's after a big life event, or maybe it is just the personal development work. I had a client who really wanted to connect more with her intuition and get some more clarity and creativity flowing in her work. And she works a lot from home. So clearing this space helped with that.
Okay, great. So you've hinted there at a couple of reasons why we might want to change the energy in the home. So you said there you've had a client who wanted to improve her intuition, and you've said that there's an element of if we can change the frequency, it might make a more welcoming environment for people who are coming into our spaces. What else is going on? Why else is it important that we get the right energy in our homes?
You want to create that welcoming, safe. This is the space you've created for you to be you at your best, but also at in all moments of life. So that creating that environment, that mood that you do for guests, I want you to be able to do that for yourself. But then the stuck energy can have implications, like we were just talking about, whether that's clarity and creativity in your work. Sometimes it's difficulty with relationships. Sometimes it's abundance and bringing opportunities. I've had clients who come to me and say, hey, I've tried everything. I just feel stuck, like I've done all this work and things aren't flowing. Can we look at my space and see maybe what I can do to help encourage and create space for opportunities?
So you're talking about, obviously this is at an energetic level, but to the vast majority of us who haven't potentially considered the energy of the home, obviously those who are a bit more consciously aware of this kind of work will be more aware of it. But let's just say that a lot of the listeners might be a bit confused about the energy side. Are there physical things that we might notice that would potentially suggest that the energy is off in the home or isn't quite at the same frequency that we want it to be?
The physical things can be kind of the triggers, but you want to definitely get in tune with your own intuition and feelings and care about how you feel. So for me, in the beginning, one clear example were the bowls in our kitchen, like the cereal soup bowls we have. A lot of them were chipped. And when I grew up, you didn't get rid of something until it was absolutely not usable. That was the rule. So for a long time, I was using them. But every time I saw them, I washed them or used them or set the table with them. It was a drag on my energy. It made me feel bad. So it was, my frequency was going down. The vibration was going down. It was pulling me down. It wasn't lifting up and supporting the environment. I wasn't aligning with abundance or these good feelings. So it was kind of energetically weighing me down. And I would give everyone else the ones that weren't chipped and myself the one that was chipped, and that would just make it worse. And then I started doing this work and realized, well, you know what? I'm the grown up in this house. I can make the rules, and I could throw away the chipped bowls and spend $20 and get a new set. And now it's been years and I still get excited to go get a bowl and pour myself some cereal, get a cup of soup, because I'm like, look what I did. It wasn't that big of a change in the grand scheme of things. I also had that experience with our bath towels. We had for a long time really mismatched, different worn out towels for no good reason other than we didn't have a lot of money when we first got married, and that's just kind of what happened. And then we had kids, and I'm wrapping my kids in these towels. I'm like, this is terrible. Like, it doesn't feel good for me to feel as a caretaker or for them to experience. So I invested in some towels I felt good about that were fun colors, and now I still get, laundry is not such a big, all these little points where I'm being uplifted and feeling that better energy. And when you let go of things that aren't serving you, you're creating a little bit of a vacuum of space for new opportunities to come in that can support your energy and support the life that you want to lead. And it's just these little changes. So the physical are usually the trigger, right? You might have a drawer that sticks. Not that big of a deal, but every time you use it, maybe you get angry and curse, or maybe you get frustrated, or maybe you think, oh, why me? Or it kind of sends you down this thought rabbit hole that's not helpful. Or you have, I think we all have a drawer that's cluttered. For me, it was the bathroom drawer. When I finally cleared that out and threw out all the samples I never used that I grabbed from a hotel somewhere, who knows what. You just get rid of that. That's not serving you. And then you open the drawer and you're like, oh, look, I feel fancy. There's space. But it's also that space for you to be and for new opportunities to come, that energetic tie to things that we don't necessarily think about. And I really do, you had mentioned like preparing for guests. I love using that mentality to kind of get into the zone. Because when you invite a guest over to your home, you do think, how I want them to feel welcome. So maybe I'll put some music on to raise the vibration, or maybe I'll light a candle, or maybe I'll make sure there's nice flow so the guests can clearly go through my room and grab their snacks or whatever, or have a nice place to hang out. If we can do that for ourselves and understand that energy, that flow that we're guiding our guests through is actually the flow of the life energy going through our home. It can just so support us. I love it.
Yeah, and you're bringing to life something I think that I suspect most people will recognize, when we've gone to somebody's house and you get a warm, fuzzy feeling, and you may go to the same house again and get a completely different feeling, or you may go somewhere else and it's not immediately obvious why, but then all of these factors play in.
Right. Or even going on vacation, and you go into a hotel and you take this breath fresh of air or feel like you can relax or feel some relief. And what is the relief? Is the relief the fact that you don't have to check your electronics? Is the relief that there's no clutter on the floor and you can easily walk through? Like, just paying attention to what's fun. Is it fun that the bathroom smells really good? Great. You can bring some really awesome smelly stuff into your own bathroom, that'll uplift you. So it's not saving all the good stuff for the little bits, but using the good stuff for most of the time because you deserve it.
Yeah, using the good stuff for yourself. It's not just for everybody else. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. You don't actually have to spend money. Maybe you do pick the nicest cup out of the cabinet for your coffee that morning and just go, hey, look, I'm worth it. And that just raises you. And then you walk through your day and you think, all these beautiful ripple effects.
Absolutely. So I just want to loop back to something that you mentioned. So you talked about the cluttered drawer. And while you were speaking, and we were talking about the physical symptoms or triggers or indicators, and one of those that popped into my head was clutter. And there's a lot of chat about the drawer, or Monica's cupboard in Friends springs to mind. Where you just hide all of the clutter, but sometimes it's out and about and around us. And I was wondering about what you were saying around the key point about is how it makes you feel. So clutter can obviously have an emotional impact, and some people seem to be okay with it. So is the key thing, it's not necessarily about there'll be the same physical triggers consistently for everybody. It's about how that physical thing makes you feel.
Yes, emotions are energy in motion. So that's how we read the energy. And I think we all read it differently. And I agree, not everything quite triggers us the same way, but it may be that the clutter is not physically bothering them, that it's there, but that they don't want to deal with some of the stuff that's in the pile. So there's always some sort of attachment or stuck energy from the work I do. It's stuck energy, something that's not moving and flowing and feeling good if it's just sitting there. And clutter has huge impact, but I always like to say my favorite thing are little changes with big impact. So it's not about shaming anybody. It's not about going down the rabbit hole and thinking, oh, well, if I clean this, I actually should reorganize the whole room, or I should attack that huge pile of I don't know what. It's that can get overwhelming so quickly and almost debilitating. So it's not helping you. If you can pick something, I set a timer for 5 or 10 minutes. And when that timer goes off, I just stop. I'm like, okay, I've done something for today. Maybe I can do more tomorrow. Maybe I'll fit in another 5 minutes, squeeze it in somewhere I didn't know I had time. But I've done something, and maybe it's just putting stuff away. Maybe it's not coming up with a new organization system. But also, you're right, clutter can also be things that never quite made the transition out. And so that can be stuck energy, like the front entryway. It's really easy to just come in and drop your stuff. And then nobody goes through the pile of stuff that didn't get used the next day. And then it kind of slowly adds up. So taking 5 minutes or 10 minutes to just process that and put the things in the recycling or the trash, or, maybe it is something more significant, a piece of furniture or something that someone gave to you or you inherited that you never really asked for or wanted. You feel badly giving away, but it's not doing anything for you. It's okay to make your peace, give it away, have it live in a home that can use it, and you create that space for what you do want. But having that emotional awareness, and then little by little taking those steps where you address that energetic tie to whatever the thing is.
I'm just interrupting this episode for a brief moment to ask, how are you enjoying these podcasts? Have you got any questions or comments you wish you could share? Well, now you can. If you'd like to ask any questions or suggest topics for a future episode, if you'd like to be a guest or leave some feedback or a review on this or any other Life with Purpose podcast episodes, or simply say hello, then you can leave me a message at speakpipe.com/Mel Harrowsmith coaching. And you never know, I might even include your message in a future episode. Now, let's get back to the conversation. Do you know, it's really interesting. So a true story from today. And I didn't realize what I was doing in the connection of coming to talk to you. And it was only after I'd done it, I was like, oh my goodness, this is what Kay Margaret is going to be talking about. I was unconsciously aware of what I was doing. Anyway, I've had a mountain bike hanging around for years that I haven't been using. And it's in the way. And it has been in the way. And for whatever reason, I just could not let this thing go. Anyway, today I was like, it's got to go. So I thought, okay. And I knew I had some blockers about the hassle of, do I put it on Gumtree or Facebook Marketplace, which just stresses me out. And I thought, you know what? I don't need any money for this. I'm just going to give it away for free. So I followed the advice of the neighbour who said, just take it to the bottom of the drive with a note on to say you're going to get rid of it and it'll go within an hour. Anyway, it did. But to get it there, I felt really emotional. I was like, okay, what is going on here? There's obviously some kind of connection and some attachment to this bike that I needed to work through. Anyway, it took a bit of time to realise what the connections were, so connections to the past and what it symbolised, why I was hanging on to it and what it was symbolising to this future that I thought I was going to have with this bike.
Yeah.
So I kind of dealt with that, and then I put the bike out, and it was a bit of like, whoa, am I doing the right thing? Am I actually going to use it again? Anyway, I disappeared off. I went off for a walk and came back and it had gone. And I didn't really think about it again. And then I thought, oh my goodness, I've just done what Kay Margaret was talking about, which is clearing out this stuff that I don't need anymore. And I do feel lighter.
Yay, that's amazing. That's a perfect story. And I agree, that's a point we didn't quite touch upon, that a lot of times we associate things with part of our identity, whether that's a future you were expected to have and maybe didn't, and things went a little differently. It's not good or bad. You're associating that value and putting that good or bad to the thing. So allowing that to release is really big and allows for things to come in that do serve you. And that's where your space is not just, it's a reflection of who you are, but we want to make sure it's not a reflection of who you were. The idea is to aim for who you are becoming and allow the space to support you and for you to feel good.
Yeah, great. Well, I do feel good. It was a little bit weird at the time. I wasn't expecting it.
But you were brave and you let yourself feel it and go through it.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, and now it is gone and I have some space. So tell us a little bit more about the actual home frequency assessment. What's involved?
Sure. I do mostly remote sessions, so I help people all over the world. So I don't actually see your space. I connect energetically remotely. If anyone's had a Reiki session or any distance energy healing, it's kind of like that. I ask for 3 things before I schedule a session. 1, an intention. So just like any other energy work maybe you would do on yourself are in your life and in your home. So what your intention is for the clearing. And then I need a sketch of the home. So just nothing complicated, but kind of labeling the different rooms to make sure I can touch upon each of the spaces and also the outside, if there's any landscaping around the home. And then 3rd, any areas of concern. So if there's any history of the house or anything weird happening or anything you're worried about, that goes in there too. And then once I receive that, I schedule a session. You don't have to worry about what day I'm doing, but I tell you what day it is. And I ask that you open your window at least for a few minutes that day to let the energy release. And then I follow up within a few days with a report of all the information I received. So I work with the archangels in my session. So when I connect, those are the messages I intuitively receive, and it's all loving, positive, kind messages. It's all things that, again, things I believe in. There are these little tweaks like, oh, this is cleared, it feels good, but if you wanted to help energetically balance the space, or if you're looking for more of this, you could add this, or you could think about this. So there's just these little suggestions for each room and clearing. And often for homes, if someone's in the home and it's not just like getting ready to sell, then I'll do a custom home blessing too. So you have something moving forward to use to clear the space. Because intention is there are all these different tools, all the tools you use for personal development, like crystals or smudging or sound. Those are all tools I use in my work as well. But I always think your intention with the space is one of the most powerful things. So I like including that blessing because that's something you can use to clear the energy moving forward.
Yeah, sounds beautiful and incredibly positive. So because you are working very much in the intuitive space and at the energetic level, are you looking for, or do you work best with particular clients? Do they need to bring anything to this resetting relationship?
No, other than I would say if you don't really believe in energy, it's probably not for you. Spirit is my preferred term for God, universe, source. So spirit always meets you where you are, which is one of the things I love because they know, it's just so loving, kind, but it's also so specific every time, unique to each individual in space. So if it's not something that sounds like for you, then it's probably not for you now. Keep trying other things that you think would help. But if you learn more about it or you feel like you're ready, if you've experienced any energy clearing for yourself, you know how powerful that can be. This space. So I would say understanding or at least believing in the energy work allows for that door to open. I've done sessions where, I think the person maybe was a little scared or just not ready to hear information. And so just not a lot of information came through and I couldn't deliver as much as I usually do. So you have to be open and ready to receive and then it can be amazing.
It does sound incredibly positive. And it also sounds like this is, a deeper process than just, doesn't even sound like it is a deeper process than just running around with the dust cloth and the Hoover. But if we have people who are in that transition zone who aren't necessarily quite ready to go for the deep dive and the home reset, are there any particular things that you would recommend to help people lift the energy in their home?
Yeah, I would say what we talked about before. So first being in tune with yourself and being aware of your emotions as you go around your home, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, when you don't feel good. And then trying little things to change that and see the difference for yourself. So the top of 3 points I always look at are air, refreshing the air. So if you can open the windows in your house every day and clear out the stagnant air and get that flowing, that can really help. If you can't open the window, then you can light a candle, or you can put on a fan, like get things circulating and moving. That can really help refresh. And lighting is really big. So if you find yourself in a situation where the lighting is not ideal, what's something small you can do to change that? Whether it's just changing the light bulb or adding a lamp. And these can be inexpensive changes that can make a big difference in how you feel during that part of the day, whether it's the evening or the morning or your workspace. And then the third is nature. So you had talked about, you've spoken on this podcast about how beneficial nature is, but bringing that into the home. And for me, I often think about first what my favorite sense is. So I really like my sense of sight. So seeing it is very helpful. A fresh vase of flowers, or even just a print. I have multiple artistic prints of mountains around my home. That makes me feel really good. Some people, they prefer their sense of hearing. And so putting gentle nature sounds on in the background, like birds chirping or something, where you're not quite really picking up on it, but it's in the background and it just lifts the mood. Or if it's scents, then maybe you burn a candle that has an earthy smell. Bringing in nature's, or an actual plant, of course, is good too. But in some way, that nature component into the indoors can also really help lift.
Yeah. So basically, whether we know it or not, we are all doing this instinctively anyway, when we bring nice things into our home to make us feel better.
Yeah, and we do that for, like we were talking about the guest aspect. Like when you go to somebody's house, you bring them a gift or you bring them some flowers. It's the same idea. You're saying thank you, but you're also adding to the moment, to the space, to the experience, to this lifting up of the vibration or the frequency or the mood, whatever word you want to use for that energy piece. It has value because that's where we live, right? In those relationships and those connections with ourself, with spirit, with others. And so anything that lifts helps everything else.
So I'd like to go back to something you said pretty much close to the start, which was this situation where, somebody might have had a blazing argument in a room. They've left. You walk in and go, "Ooh, something feels a little bit weird in here." And just taking that a little bit further, and what's your experience of working between new houses and old houses or buildings? Now, I know you're in North California, and it would be very easy for me to assume that the oldest house
is not very old.
It's not very old. And of course, here I am in the UK where, my friend lives in a house that's 500 years old. So do you see, what kind of differences do you see?
That's a really good question. I don't think I'm prepared to answer. I don't ask how old the home is, so I don't have a lot of data on that. I did work on a space in London in England last week, so that could have been older, but also it was an apartment, so we had different, it wasn't a standalone home, so that presented different, not challenges, but just a different situation. I think anytime you're in a space that wasn't yours, and most of us are stewards of our homes that have been around longer, there's that energetic clearing. It was used for something else by somebody else with a different intention, and so that hangs on if it's not cleared, not to mention your own life. So I don't know that I've noticed old versus new. It comes across as colors and lightness and brightness to me, energetically light or heavy.
Okay, interesting. So it's interesting throwing that question at you when you weren't necessarily prepared for it.
No, now I'm going to pay more attention. I love those questions. Or ask.
It's going to be a question you ask for.
Yeah, on intake.
How old is your house?
Are we talking 500 years?
But it's, in parallel to that, it's interesting because a friend of mine's mum, who does quite a lot of energy work, she talks about people living in barn conversions, and particularly barns that used to host animals, and how the energy can be affected by the fact that animals have been in there, and particularly how well those animals were cared for. So she's very much about, you've got to if you're going into a barn conversion, you've got to think about cleansing out the animal energy. But it's no different to cleansing out human energy that went before, surely.
I don't think so. Yeah, but I think it's really smart to be aware of that, because it's one of those things. It's not obvious. We don't see energy, and so it's really easy to just go through and just feel off and not know why, because you're like, wait, I cleaned everything, I moved everything, what's going on? And so it's that extra component, this energetic residue, that's good to be aware of.
Excellent. So I think the overall message here is that we all need to listen to our intuition, tune into our spaces, recognize what feels good, recognize what doesn't, and the things that don't feel good, we can make small changes to test that and see how that improves. And then if things aren't getting better, then there's always K. Margaret.
Yes, exactly. But I love what you said at the end. There's no one right way of doing it. The point is the space is to support you. So how you feel matters, and little changes do help. And it's always it's a process, right? You're living, and your house is living with you and supporting you.
So if people want to know more about you, K. Margaret, what you're doing, what you're working on, and how to get in touch with you, where can they find you?
Thank you. My website is a great place to start. It's deliciousease.com. I also have a podcast called Intuitive Wisdom, so you can find that anywhere. And I published my first book this year, Make Ease Your Vibe. That's available on Amazon. And if you go to my website, you go to deliciousease.com/quiz. I have a free quiz your listeners are welcome to take, and that has some basic questions to help you start thinking about the energy of your home and those connections. And then you get a little score, and it gives you a little more information.
Fantastic. Well, it's been absolutely amazing speaking to you. I already have lots of ideas running through my head about buying extra lamps. I need to change my towels. And there's definitely some energy things that I can do with changing. So you've given me lots of inspiration and things to think about. And I think you might need to have a go at my living room. So I'll get in touch about that separately. But it's been an absolute joy having you here today. Thank you so much, K. Margaret.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on Intuitive Wisdom. If this episode brought you clarity or inspiration, please take a moment to leave a 5-star review. It truly helps others find this space. And if someone you love, you could use a shift in energy, share this episode with them. You never know what might resonate. For more, explore my frequency reset service, tune into more episodes, or begin the journey through my book, all at deliciousease.com. That's DELICIOUSEASE.com. All right, until next time, trust your energy, honor your space, and keep coming home to yourself.